This
20
conference will now be recorded.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order of the MPO Policy Board meeting for June the 7th, 2022. And the first item is that we take roll call. So Mayor Rosworski is here. Mayor Dennis.
Here.
Let's see. I don't believe we're going to have anybody from the county council or the county commissioners unless somebody has come on.
I'm sitting in for Dave.
Okay. All right. All right. Commissioner Murtaugh.
Present.
All right. Larry Leverance.
Present.
Peter Bunder.
Here.
Cindy Murray.
Here.
Ben Murray.
Here.
Shane Spears.
Here.
And Perry Brown, are you on?
Yes, but my camera won't come on.
Okay. All right. Well, I can hear you, so I will put yes. So we definitely do have a quorum. All right. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the May 12th, 2022 meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So move, John Dennis.
Do I have a second?
Second, Perry Brown.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, changes, or Scribner's errors? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Murtaugh.
Aye.
Larry Leverance.
Aye.
Perry Brown.
Aye.
Peter Bunder.
Aye.
Cindy Murray.
Aye.
Ben Murray.
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is Resolution T22-06, a resolution to amend the 2022-2026 Transportation Improvement Program, and Doug will be handling that presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone.
You
We
turn
have
that up
received a
some, Mayor?
request from the Crawfordsville District Office to amend the TIP, and it involves 10 projects, of which all 10 are actually programmed in the TIP. We'll be making minor changes to all of them. That includes changing the phase dates for some, changing funding amounts for several phases, adding phases, actually changing the scope of one project, and then changing the location of the other. Within the staff report, there are 6 projects in which we will be changing the phases from 2022 to either 23, 24, and 26. 3 will be moved to 23, which involve US 52 bridge over the Norfolk and Southern, specifically the right-of-way phase, the I-65 southbound bridge over the Norfolk and Southern, the utility phase, and then the I-65 and State Road 38 pavement restoration project construction phase. Moving to 2024 is the right-of-way phase for the I-65 pipelining project, and that is in the southeastern part of the county. And then finally, the construction phase of the 2 auxiliary lane projects on 52. Those will be moving to 2026. Of course, for those project change phases for construction, the 2 projects on US 52, the cost increases, but interestingly, the cost or the amount will decrease for the I-65 and 38 project. We will be adding the utility phases to 2 projects. They will be occurring in 2023, and those are located at the 52 bridge over the Gaylord branch, and then the I-65 northbound bridge over the Norfolk and Southern Railroad. The several changes to the State Road 225 bridge project over the Wabash River, changing it from bridge rehabilitation or repair project to a truss reconstruction or repair project. And we're adding the right-of-way phase, which is anticipated to begin in fiscal year 2023. And then finally, changing the project location. This is for a bridge joint repair replacement project, moving it from 100 West, the bridge, specifically over I-65, to the 500 West bridge. Specific details for each individual project are in the staff report. The amendment has been reviewed by the Technical Transportation Committee at their last month's meeting, and they recommend approval, and APC staff is also recommending approval. Are there any questions or comments?
All right. Well, thank you, Doug. That was quite extensive there. Does anybody have any questions? Everybody understand what changes are taking place? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and take a vote on approving this resolution then. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Murtaugh,
Aye.
Larry Leverance,
Aye.
Perry Brown. Perry?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Ben Murray,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The motion carries to pass resolution 22-06.
Great, thank
The
you.
next item on the agenda is the APC progress report, MPO update, the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan adoption, and Tim will be handling that.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So we're in a little bit of a different situation than we've been in with the past as it gets in regards to this plan. So I'm going to go ahead and explain what's going on, and then certainly I'll have some time to take questions if anyone has those. So in the past, when we've put together our long-range plans, what we've always done is we've put together a draft plan, and then we've had some time set aside for public comment. Well, we did that this time. We had 3 public open house meetings where we had staff members available to kind of just answer questions from people, talk to them, and so on. And then we also had a public hearing that was conducted at our Citizens Participation Committee, which we moved forward. It was actually last week in order to get that ahead of this meeting. However, one thing that happened that was a little different is that we got some comments from NDOT regarding some significant changes that they wanted, specifically some changes to some of the wording in the plan. Now, what those changes mean is that because kind of when we got those changes, we weren't really able to even finish making those until last week. So the version that we have of the plan now is not the same one that was put out for public comment on April 29th. And because, you know, the changes again are like I said, they're fairly significant in our minds. So we talked to Federal Highway about them as well. And Federal Highway, I'm going to say, wasn't necessarily totally aware of everything that NDOT was asking us to change. So there was even maybe a little bit of disconnect there between those agencies. They hadn't quite sorted everything out amongst themselves. And NDOT has kind of indicated to us that some of these changes are going to be changes that they're going to request from other MPOs going forward. But we're the very first one, from my understanding, that has gotten kind of these requests for changes. So there's kind of like a whole brand new process going on that, like I said, NDOT and Federal Highway, I'm not even sure on the same page on. So they are going to be working to sort that out, and then we're all going to try to come together to get some sort of uniform opinion on these changes. So that's kind of what's going on with that. However, at the same time, kind of the other reality that we're up against is the fact that we do have a deadline to adopt the new transportation plan, which is technically the deadline's tomorrow, but we've gathered this board today, so we do need to adopt something. So again, after some consultation with Federal Highway and talking amongst our staff, kind of what we think the best plan is to do is to adopt what we put out on April 29th as the initial adoption, so that we'll have something in place. And then we'll look to do some amendments to kind of reconcile all these potential changes, especially as guidance comes through, from NDOT and Federal Highway, and we all get on the same page on that. And if we do it this way, once we get some of those changes out, we can again send the document out and give the public another chance to comment on some of those changes. So that would be our recommendation. But I would like to kind of stop here and take any questions if you have them. I know this is a little different from how we've usually done this in the past, so I want to open the floor for questions or comments.
Any comments for Tim? No, thank you for that explanation. It is a little bit different, but we understand what's taking place. Tim, under the MPO updates here, are you wanting us to vote on that one itself, and then the unified planning work itself, and each one of these individually or as a group? What are you looking for?
Yes, so those will have two separate resolutions. So the resolution for the MTP is this one, T22-08 that I have on the screen.
Okay.
And then the resolution for the UPWP is T22-07.
Okay. All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve this one that we have in front of you on the screen there, T2208.
So moved.
Second, Murtaugh.
All right, thank you. Motion and a second. Last chance for any questions? Hearing none. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Murtaugh,
Aye.
Larry Leverance,
Aye.
Harry Brown,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Ben Murray,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Unified Planning Work Plan adoption, and David will be doing that presentation.
Sorry, I lost my controls there for a second. We're kind of in a similar place with the UPWP than we were with the MTP, and we've received final comments from NDOT and have been incorporating them into the UPWP to their liking. So we've finally come with the resolution that you have before you, which is indication that the policy board approves the UPWP, and with that we are able to send this off for final acceptance, I guess you could say, by NDOT.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for David on resolution T2207? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, a couple of you on top of each other there. Who was first there on a motion to approve?
Me.
Okay, who's second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Perry. We got a motion and a second. We'll conduct a roll call vote. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Murtaugh,
Aye.
Larry Leverance,
Aye.
Harry Brown,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Ben Murray,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
All right, the resolution passes. The next item is the Dayton Sidewalk Condition Survey and ADA Mobility Assessment. And Doug will be handling that.
Can hear you, Doug.
Doug,
Doug, you're mute.
unfortunately, it's not working. It doesn't show that you're muted, but unfortunately it's not working.
How's that? Is that better?
Yep.
That's
Okay. Sorry, my apologies again. We'd like to share with you some work that we did for the town of Dayton, specifically look at their sidewalks. We did two different things. We looked at the condition of the sidewalks. This is similar to what we did for the town of Dayton, and then or not Dayton, but Battleground. And then we also did an ADA assessment. Specifically looking at the conditions, first off, we used the modified PASER rating, and the sidewalks that you see here in the map are ranked between excellent condition, which means they're good to go, brand new, and unfortunately down to the failed condition, which you can see, yes, there are several sidewalks within the town that have failed. In addition to that, we also looked at spot um, issues, and we put together two maps, one of Eastern Dayton, one Western Dayton, and we looked at 9 issues. See, there you go. We looked at heaving, sinking, missing, cracking, spalling, utilities, trees, grass, and encroachment. And as you can see, this map for each sidewalk segment, you can actually see what issues we observed when doing our assessment. Part 2 of this report, we looked at ADA application in terms of looking at the individual parts. One was width. Of course, ADA requires that sidewalks to be 4 inches wider, so we looked at those that were under 4 inches or 4 feet, and specifically pointed those out. We looked at both the cross slope and the running slope, and we have several maps within the document that show that. We also have maps that show horizontal clearance, vertical clearance, and then also height clearance. So all of these ADA issues, we address these individually. And then doing what we did similar back in 2012, and then we did a 7-factor analysis, including many of these issues. We expanded it out to this analysis. We actually included 7, which included width, cross slope, running slope, vertical clearance, utility fixtures, vegetation, passing places, gaps in pavement, surface irregularities, horizontal, vertical gaps. So if there were any issues, they received a score of 1. If there were no issues, they received a score of 0. So um, good to say that when looking at all these sections, there were no sidewalks that received a score of 8 or worse. There were 3 that did receive 7 um, issues, or ranked 7 issues, and then there were 7 that had 6 issues. And again, we have a colored map here, so you can actually see which section or which sidewalk actually ranked with no issues, and then correspondingly down to 7. Interestingly, most of them fell out between 1 issue to 4 issues. So this is basically some help that we did for the town of Dayton, looking at their sidewalks, and we plan later this summer to actually look at ramps and do that assessment. So just would like to share you quickly some help that we did for our small town. Questions or comments?
good stuff.
Okay, well, all right. Well, thank you, Doug. For that, I don't believe this requires any action. Is that correct?
That is correct. We would like to just let you know of a product we did for one of our smaller towns.
Great, thank you. All right, we'll move on then to a federal funding obligation. And Doug, you're still up.
We just received NDOT's report for this month, actually yesterday. So unfortunately, we weren't able to have a report to present. But the good news is that we have obligated all of our FY22 funds that we needed to for this fiscal year. The report did show that we did obligate the funds for the Sagamore Parkway Trail. So that's the good news. Additionally, we did receive the final FY22 sharing agreement, and it did show that we received a pinch more of federal funds for this fiscal year. Fortunately, the news on that is that if we did have initial funds, we didn't have to have these obligated by the end of this month, but we have up until September 30th. We do have actually a small balance to look at. It was $316,999. And we will be looking at how to allocate and obligate those funds with our Technical Transportation Committee actually next week. And we also received, I'd like to just tag along here, new funding targets for fiscal year 2023 through 2026. And the good news, over the 4-year period, we'll be receiving over the different project program funding amounts over $5 million for those years. We will be addressing fiscal year 2023 with our Technical Transportation Committee next week, and then bring it back to the board here in July. And then looking at 24 through 26, we will be specifically addressing those when we develop a new TIP or Transportation Improvement Program later this year. So, are there any comments or questions?
All right, thank you again, Doug, for that presentation. And it looks like you're still up for the 18-month letting list.
Well, if you look at the list, it's considerably shorter than what it has been in the past. First off, I'd like to point out 2 projects, project number 4 and project number 9. Those are the county's Yeager Road project and McCutcheon, the pedestrian safety project. Still good to go, with one being an October letting and the other on November letting. Surprisingly, we have no projects that will be let until September. And then after that, projects 5, 6, and 7 were on a September or October letting, and those 3 have actually moved to November. Looking further down the list, we have another change, project 15. That is a change of one of the auxiliary lane projects from 2025 to 2023. And then we actually have 2 new projects that shown up, and those are both on State Road 38, bridge deck overlays, and those are over the Elliott Ditch. And that's basically it. Questions or comments?
All right, well, as Doug indicated, a lot shorter than normal, but does anybody have any questions? All right, hearing none, thank you, Doug. We'll move on to Tim, who will be under quarterly reports, doing the tracking summary.
Yes, so last month was the month where we presented our quarterly project tracking for the technical committee. So I'm just going to report on that today. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just going to kind of hit some of what I might think you guys would be interested in, but I will, of course, take questions at the end. So the first thing I want to mention is that both the Klondike and Lindbergh projects for the county are very close to being closed out. So they're both kind of in the final phases. So that's some very good news. It'll be good to close those out. Moving down to the River Road at County Road 500 North. The county is going to be coordinating with West Lafayette on this project. It is pretty close to some of the work that's happening in West Lafayette. So they have agreed to coordinate on some maintenance of traffic there. So that's good. Hopefully that will at least reduce some of the impacts while those projects are running concurrently. So additionally, for Morehouse Road, both phases of that are on track. We are still working with the highway department on figuring out exactly how much funding needs to go to each phase with this split. So that's something that we're still going through. For the Yeager Road project, there is one parcel in condemnation, but once that is sorted out, right of way will be complete for that project. And it seems like there shouldn't be too many other issues on that project. From what I'm told, it's progressing, so we're almost able to finish the right-of-way phase there for that. For the McCutcheon pedestrian safety project, the environmental report has been completed, so very good milestone to hit there. We do actually have a couple of new quarterly reports that showed up for bridges number 80 and 83. These projects will let together, so very similar to Bridge 64 and 65, which is a pair of projects we've been tracking for a while. So bridges 80 and 83 will have something very similar to that. And speaking of bridges, so the next cycle of the county bridge inspection program has started. We didn't actually get a quarterly report on that, but that's because it's in kind of a holding pattern. This tends to happen whenever it rolls over into a new cycle. So we will be getting some quarterly reports on that within the next couple of cycles. So that's all for Tippecanoe County. Moving on to Lafayette, they also had some projects close out. Tippecanoe and Park East and Concord were all closed out. Excuse me, Park East is close to being closed out. Tippecanoe and Concord were closed out at the time of those reports. And then kind of the big news is about the South 9th Street project. There are some questions about the historical status of the Norma Jean subdivision, and that is going to impact the project schedule. So once we have more information about that, Lafayette City Engineering will get us an adjusted project schedule, and we'll make sure to stay on top of that. So then for West Lafayette, as Doug mentioned earlier, the Sagamore Parkway Trail was let, and that does show up in NDOT's reports, which is always a very good thing. I did want to note that at the last meeting that West Lafayette mentioned that construction is expected to begin on that project in June. So we're very glad to see that will start getting in the ground. So that's all that I had. Are there any questions about any of the projects I covered or the couple that I skipped?
All right. Well, if there are no questions for Tim, thank you very much. We appreciate that. We'll go down to other business. Is there any other business to come before the board? Okay. Well, if there's no other business, we will pause for a moment here to allow for any citizen comment.
Okay, and we'll time that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, it has been 1 minute, and at this time, I see no comments on Facebook or YouTube.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Just a reminder, the next meeting will be on July the 14th, 2022, and it will be virtual. So that's July the 14th, 2022. Please make sure you have that on your calendar if you can join us. And with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, well, we got several of them there. All right. Mayor Dennis,
Aye.
Commissioner Murtaugh, Larry Leverance,
Aye.
Harry Brown,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Ben Murray,
Aye.
Jane Spears.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone.